Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Sunday, April 13th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and you will eventually see our guy, Goose.
I am here in spirit and in voice.
On camera. He's having camera issues. We had him before the show with his camera, but like I said, he'll work through that. We can hear him at least, but he's joining us here on this special, on the Sunday edition of the show as a special guest. Another big NHL slate for a Sunday. This is the final Sunday of the regular season, and we're going out in style with the final Sunday of the regular season with 9 games to go through here on this Sunday slate. Before we get to that, we'll go back and look at Saturday. It was obviously a very busy Saturday. Boy, oh boy, the afternoon slate, I'm telling you, it couldn't have went much better. It really couldn't have. I mean, if you were with me at noon yesterday on the solo expedition on the show yesterday, but man, hopefully you hit a lot of those afternoon bets, because what do we have? We had the Flyers team total. It was looking dicey with them, but they came back and they beat the Islanders 4-3 in a shootout. We had the first period over did not hit, but we more than made up for it. We took the second period over with, the scoreless first period, which other than the Toronto-Montreal game last night, it continues to be a pretty good betting strategy. And then the full game over cashed and a 4-3 Flyers win. Islanders officially out of the playoffs. And like I said, not a shock that they are out. Disappointing season there. We liked Columbus to just smoke a disinterested Washington team. Columbus money line, Columbus team total. And we had over by Fecta, and it cashed. Thanks to Columbus, who put up a 7 spot against the Washington Capitals. Funny enough, these two teams play each other again today in the nation's capital. Will Washington bring a little bit more intensity and urgency to the table, I guess, is the biggest question we have to ask as far as that particular game. But no doubt, good win there for Columbus, 7-0 in front of their home fans. The Jackets definitely came to play. I mean, even though they're actually still alive by a thread because of Montreal's loss, but they're probably not getting in. But they are still mathematically alive, and they got to take the ice saying, hey, as long as there's a chance, there's a chance. But it's not so much to make the playoffs, but it's a rare national TV spotlight game at home for Columbus. And they definitely felt from the beginning of that game way more interested than Washington. It got a little heated too, man. Some line brawls and a couple of fights and skirmishes after the whistle, but all Columbus in that one, 7-0. So that was a good result. We had the over by Fecta with the Rangers and the Hurricanes, talking about we don't expect much defensive intensity in that game. And sure enough, there wasn't. 10 goals combined, 7 for Carolina as they beat the New York Rangers 7-3 in that game. LA in regulation. We had to sweat that one, but they did hang on and get a 5-4 victory over the Colorado Avalanche yesterday in that game. Great day from Quentin Byfield. Does indeed cash one of our 3 bargain bin specials yesterday at plus 320. So that was a great result. Kings a big step forward to getting home ice in their first round playoff series against the Edmonton Oilers. Then there were a couple of big dogs we took a shot with that, man, it was right there for us, and they just fell short. One of them was Buffalo. And the good news is we, diversified our portfolio with these dogs. We didn't put it all on the full game money line. We went a little first period to score a goal. First period money line. We did that with Buffalo, and we did that with Chicago, who I'll talk about in just a moment. And we cashed at least the goal in the first period money line with the Sabres. We lost the other 2, though. We had the money line and the full game money line and the team total over 2.5 full game as well. And unfortunately, Buffalo could only get to 2. Florida ends up getting a 3-2 shootout win over the Buffalo Sabres in that game. Good effort from Buffalo, but not enough to get the job done as Florida gets a 3-2 win there. Chicago, I knew it was a bold move. You go and best bet on them at that big money line at plus 265, but I really did like it enough to make it best bet. I thought they had a real chance, and man, it was right there. It was right there for the Chicago Blackhawks. And so disappointing to lose the best bet, but I'm not going to cry too much over it because everything else hit in that game. And our read for that game overall was spot on. Chicago was going to come to play. They're going to be amped up. Final home game, final game for Pat Maroon. And we also found out final game for Alec Martinez as well. Another man entering the ranks of the retired after this season. So Chicago definitely played with great inspiration. They jumped out to a 2-0 lead, although Connor Hellebuck gift-wrapped one of the goals for Chicago there in that opening period. And they were up 2-0. Winnipeg ties it up 2-2. Kind of felt it was slipping away from Chicago. Then when they made it 3-2, Winnipeg, I'm like, this is just maybe the better team, maybe taking over. But then, no, Chicago ties it and then takes a 4-3 lead with about 5 minutes left, but can't hold the lead. Winnipeg ties it 4-4 right after, just minutes later, and then they win it 5-4 in a shootout. Great effort, though, from Chicago. You got to give them credit for that. I was hoping like hell we'd get that money line, but nevertheless, we had Chicago first period goal, Chicago first period money line, Chicago full game team total over, and all of those hit. The only one that didn't was the money line. So we'll take it. 5-4, Winnipeg wins in a shootout. How about the goalie battle? Not so much a goalie battle because Stolars didn't face many shots. It was really Dobish, it was a shooting gallery on Jakob Dobish all night. And he did eventually give up the first goal of the game, but unfortunately it took till overtime for that first goal of the game to go in. It was a great job by Dobish. He was phenomenal last night. That looked like the Dobish when he played Florida and Tampa and beat those two teams when he first burst onto the scene for Montreal. So a 1-0 overtime win. Mitch Marner with the overtime winner. Toronto was much the better team last night as far as territorial play. They carried the game start to finish. And it was just fortuitous for Montreal to even get a point out of that game with the way they played. But Toronto ends up, which I'm thankful for because I did have a piece of the draw. It's the one thing that hit for me in that game. And the Leafs get the 1-0 overtime win against Montreal. Shout out to the Robinsons, Matt and Ryan Robinson, who were in attendance at the Dallas game last night against the Utah Hockey Club. 5-3 Utah, the final score in that game. I know Matt sent me a great picture of him, Ryan Robinson, his brother, and hanging out with Josh Doan after the game. Someone that they have a common, they know Josh Doan well from hockey past. And like I said, definitely a good picture of them that Matt sent to me after the game. And I said to him jokingly after the game, it's nice that you actually got to hang out with a player from the winning team, not that losing team on the other side. No response yet, though. No response yet from Matt after I said that. He kind of takes it personally sometimes, even when someone's kidding around and poking at his Dallas Stars there like that. But nevertheless, 5-3 win for Utah. We should have bet Josh Doan to score a goal because obviously he knew that probably they were there. The Robinsons, and he had people there cheering him on. So he probably should have known he'd get a goal. That's the one thing about Matt Robinson. When he's got connections, like when he's on this show, Stefan Nason scores most of the time. We should have known with him and Ryan at the AAC Dallas, Josh Doan would have scored last night. And he did. Scored a power play goal for the Utah Hockey Club.
We should make that note just moving forward. If he's ever at a game and Stefan Nason's playing, that we got to hammer that goal prop like hell because we know that would be the theme for sure. Yeah, no doubt. But a nice. I'm telling you what, I can't even blame. I told you I'm done with Dallas from a side perspective. The rest of the regular season, just I probably retrospect. Maybe should have bet Utah because we could have seen this coming. And plus Thomas Harley, Essa Lindell, Mason Marchment didn't play in that game, so they were resting some guys too. But like I said, Dallas is clearly in. Get this regular season the hell over with. Let's get to the playoffs mode. There's no doubt. Now, could they just flip a switch? Because they've been playing pretty – it's not been good. What we've seen from Dallas the last couple of weeks. Could they just flip a switch next week when that series against Colorado starts? That's going to be the big question. Or is this a sign of things to come? Struggles coming up in the playoffs because of the way they finished the season. We'll have to wait and see. But Utah gets the win 5-3. We saw Vegas beat Nashville 5-3 last night. Valiant effort from the Preds, but they fall short. Seattle 4-3 in a shootout over St. Louis. St. Louis has now lost 3 in a row after that incredible win streak. Now, it's a good thing I had the team total. We split because I like the Blues money line. They obviously lost in a shootout, so that didn't cash, but the team total did. And it's always a reminder why it's good to split the money line and the team total. Big point, though, for St. Louis to at least get 1 point. They do inch closer to the playoffs. And Minnesota takes a huge
much bigger step forward to the playoffs with that 3-2 win in overtime against Vancouver. It was not a good night to be a Calgary Flames fan when they see the teams they got to catch all getting points. St. Louis gets a point. Minnesota gets both points after being down 2-0 in that game. They rally back and they win 3-2 in overtime. But, of course, the headline event of that game was the very scary incident, Forbert and Drennan in the third period. And people are saying, well, there must be Wild fans that are saying, well, you know what? Forbert was punching Drennan when he was down. He was leaning to the side. He was just leaning to the side, and he was not right down on the ice. He was leaning to the side when Forbert was getting those punches in. What Drennan did was a guy that was down on the ice, head on the ice, and went for another shot right on the jugular there when he was prone on the ice. You can't even put the two things in the same discussion and in the same category. Yeah, okay. Was Forbert taking some liberties just a few seconds ago? Yeah, but Drennan was still kind of upright and a little off the ice. You can't even compare. He was down on the ice with his head on the ice, and the guy smacked him another one. That's brutal. That's a terrible incident. I don't know if it's suspension worthy or not. I'm not totally sure he'll get something. They'll give him the misconduct. That might be enough. But at the same point in time, if you're Yakov Trenin, and Jonathan Davis suggested this, that maybe he's going to reach out and apologize to Forbert, he damn well should. That's just, you can't be doing that shit. It's just not acceptable. Alex, your thoughts on what we saw on Saturday?
Well, we can start with that because not only did you have that punch when he's down on the ground, but I'm seeing this disturbing trend. This goes back to the Jalen Chatfield incident over a week ago with these takedowns and fights. It's one thing to, gain leverage and you're pulling and you're tugging, of course, trying to take someone down to stop the fight when you guys are running out of gas. But seeing these trip downs and takedowns like it's fucking UFC, this shit's got to stop because this will now give the wormhole and the opening for this league to stop fighting altogether. Shit like that will.
That's not an octagon mat below you, too.
No, that's not. That's fucking ice.
Fucking ice that can crack open a man's skull. People got to remember that when they do this crap. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really upset to see that because there's no reason for that. They said fight clean. If you're gonna have a fight, that's fine, but fight clean. There's been too much dirty shit within fights over the last year. We talked about how these guys swing each other with gloves and different things, but seeing these guys with these trips and doing things while they're on the ice, it's a really bad look, and I don't like it. Somebody who loves fighting and believes fighting deserves to be in the game of hockey. That's not the way to go about it. So I was upset to see that. As far as the games on the ice go. There's a lot of interesting things. That Washington Columbus is just a prime example of why you have to either be on point or just tread lightly when looking at a contest because it looked like it was a slam dunk Columbus spot, and it was. But it's also kind of a weird thing. Like I said, when you're looking at totals, it's hard to get. You obviously are looking at that game. You're not gauging that Washington's going to get shut out. Like you expect them to chip in somewhat offensively. And now, like I said, we're trying to basically be mind readers in a sense of seeing where is the inspiration and the motivation going to come from. You knew Washington wasn't going to be motivated in that spot, but how motivated would Columbus be? And now you have those two teams flipping around and playing again in a home and home. So now a game that probably wouldn't mean shit to Washington today if they won that, say, 3-2. Now you got blown out 7-0, and that game, like I said, got chippy and dirty late as well. Maybe we see a Washington team actually play inspired, and then that makes it a little dangerous when we start looking at these prices because, like I said yesterday, team totals are the way to go with some of these dogs. You have to insulate yourself and protect yourself because Buffalo ends up losing. Chicago, looking great, ends up losing.
You had total.
Cash's team total, right? So that's really the way you have to do it this last several days. I do it, and I've been doing it most of the year. Like you've really got me into doing that with dogs and team totals, and it's helped a lot. But I'm going to be even more vigilant. There might be some games where I'm only looking strictly team total on a dog if I feel like they're motivated. I still don't want to trust them to win 60 minutes because. Keep in point, the reason why they're priced plus 250, they haven't been trustworthy for 60 minutes most of the season. Yep. Just give us the goals and we get the hell out of there with our money. So that's the way I'm going to be looking at it. Like I said, I'm playing things a little bit lower and slower heading into the stretch. But team totals is definitely something I'm going to be focusing on a little bit more than just straight up money line, dogs or favorites for that matter.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I've gotten to the point now with a lot of underdogs throughout the season, but even more so now in this late part of the schedule where, 50-50 money line and team total. And, it saved me with Chicago. If I had just put it all on the money line, at least the full game, it does us no good. We would have lost, the entire bet. But the full game, we split it with that and the over 2.5, which was also plus money in that game. And we were able to get out of there with a split with those two. And it was actually a profitable game overall because we split the full game money line and team total over with Chicago, and we cashed first period and first period team total with Chicago. So it ended up being a great game. But man, because I used Chicago money line as the best bet, that would have been an icing on the cake if they had somehow found a way to pull that game out. And I was debating too, do I go with team total instead for best bet? And I said, no, I'm going to go for the jugular today. We're going to be bold. And we almost got it. We're happy to have Goose with us. Now, he's got a Flames jersey on, but of course, as you know, because he's been living in Calgary all these years, but he is a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, as we know, and I know he's got a lot to say about the Leaf game last night where they dominated, but yet had to go to overtime because Jakob Dobish decided, you know what, you're dominating, but I'm not letting the puck in.
Goddamn Habs goalies again with my Leafs. So if you're a Sergio Leone fan, you should hear the whistling from the spaghetti westerns right now, because this is the Goose, the bad, and the ugly from last night's game. First off, cheers to Craig Berube for pulling the goalie with 1.9 seconds left in the offensive zone. Every coach in the NHL should be doing that. 2 seconds or less, pull the damn goalie, get your 6-on-5, might even be a 6-on-4. Cheers, right on, Greg. Marner, nice game winner. Good jump off the bench. Good change by Carlo coming over, and Marner did jump early, though, so they're lucky on that one. 2 away from 100 for points in the season. He's being able to handle different assignments. The defense is a little shaky at times, but he's learning from Chief how to play the game. Max Domi playing playoff hockey already. That's the way it should be. Nylander 6 away from 50. This is his third 40-goal season, and the goaltending is great. I'm happy. It doesn't matter who's playing. I'm good. The defense is where we might be a little suspect here if we don't get some guys back. The bad, Marner got hit in the first. Wasn't much of a hit, but it was enough of a hit on a puck battle. He ducked 3 hits later on in the game for that same kind of puck battle. That has to stop. And stop throwing those goddamn feather passes behind your back. Those are going to kill us. Alexander McGillney did it. That killed us. Enough for that. Perfect game for the big guys to show up, and they didn't. Right? That should have been a 4 or 5-0 game. It really should have. Not everybody's playing playoff hockey yet. That has to start. The ugly. How does a player assess the 10-minute misconduct in the game of Columbus and get back out on the ice? How does that
Unbelievable.
happen?
Unbelievable.
Right? So that's on the timekeepers, but they're part of the officials. So after the game, that wasn't appreciated by the officials, I can tell you.
Remember, Goose has worked as a referee before, so he's got some say in that.
I would never hang a timekeeper out to dry, and I would never want one to hang me out to dry. So that's kind of a bullshit, because now you end up with an additional 2 minutes for illegal player on the ice. Shouldn't have happened. All in all, it was a good game by the boys. They played good. They played hard. It's playoff. It should be playoff hockey. That should have been a 4 or 5-0 game. Should have been 3 or 4 goals for Marner and Matthews and Tavares for that fact. I like it. It was a good game. Needs to be a little harder. That's what I got for the boys.
That's a fair assessment in what he saw with the Leafs last night in that one. All right, let's get to Sunday. It's a big slate. We'll jump right in. We got 2 games coming up top of the hour at 1:00 p.m. Eastern time on this 9-game NHL slate. We got the Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa minus 240, home favorites in this game, 5.5 the total. Obviously, Philadelphia, a team that for the most part since the change at coach, Tortorella dismissed, it's been a team that's given you a good effort most nights, played hard, obviously come from behind win against the Islanders. They were down in that game. They came back and they won it yesterday. It's a back-to-back for the Philadelphia Flyers. Not so for Ottawa because they played Friday night at home against Montreal, got a big victory there. Ivan Fedotov is projected. Not projected. He is confirmed in net here for the Philadelphia Flyers after Ayerson got the start. Fedotov's off a really good start against Nashville the last time we saw him, but he hasn't started since March the 31st. So it's been a while since we've seen him. Remember, there's also a guy that gave up 7 against the Chicago Blackhawks before that. So which version of Ivan Fedotov will you get here today in this game is the question mark. On the flip side, you've got probably Anton Forsberg getting the start here for Ottawa. sure is looking like it's going to be him in between the pipes for the Sens, obviously coming off that 5-2 win against the Montreal Canadiens. When you look at obviously what we have seen here from the Ottawa Senators, they've clinched the playoff spot earlier this week, so that's been taken care of for sure. They're at 92 points. They are currently 6 back of Florida now, who have 98, 4 clear of Montreal, and they have the regulation wins, tiebreaker over Montreal. So if Montreal wins their last 2 games and Ottawa loses their last 2 games, they're both tied at 92, and Ottawa gets it. So they're pretty much locked in, Ottawa, just about to that wild card 1 spot. They can't catch Florida, more than likely. And of course, Montreal's not going to catch them from behind. So, motivation and inspiration is going to be a question mark for Ottawa in these remaining games, potentially going into this one. Do I want to back Philly on the back-to-back with Fedotov? Not enough to take Philadelphia. And keep an eye, too, on these teams that, even the teams that have clinched, teams that are not in the playoffs or teams that have already locked up everything but are playing their final home game. Be careful of betting against those teams. But Ottawa's finishing the season at home. All 3 of their remaining games are at home. And they wrap up the season at home Thursday against Carolina. So this is not their final home game. I'm just going with the over by Fecta here. Very simple. I swept the board with over by Fectas yesterday, except for the first period over in the Islanders-Flyers game. That's the only one that stayed under. Full game over hit. The first and full game over hit in Columbus yesterday afternoon. The first and full game over hit in Carolina yesterday afternoon. You just trust these 2 teams to not show a lot of defensive intensity. Ottawa's locked up their positioning. Philly's out, and Philly's not a great defensive team to begin with, or their goaltending. You can't trust them one game to the next. But they've been scoring lately, the Philadelphia Flyers, though, which we've been noticing. So, yeah, we'll get this is going to be a running theme here for these early games once again today. But, yeah, over by Fecta here. Alex, what do you think? Flyers, Senators.
So I did grab first period over at -125. The totals moved to 6. They're still at 5.5 -130 in DraftKings.
Oh, yeah,
so,
wow.
Yeah, so I will wait for that to drop in game. So I'll be playing that live. We'll still be on the air. I'll try and grab that down at a 5.5. But I do like that first period over, and I like Ottawa team total. You grab over 3.5 over -102 at FanDuel. If you look at series history, Ottawa has scored at least 4 goals against Philly in the majority of their head-to-head matchups. If I'm looking back, it's 5 of the last 6. Matchups, and they've scored 4 goals in 2 of their last 3 victories. So when they win, they score goals. Seems like this is the game they should win. But like I said, Flyers could give some pushback as well too. So I do like the over by Fecta there, but I'm going to go a little bit heavier with that Ottawa team total.
And 5 of the last 6 meetings have gone over the total full game with these 2 teams. And this year, 2 meetings previously, they both went over 5-2 Ottawa in Philly, and it was 5-4 Philly in overtime in Ottawa in the 2 previous meetings. So both of those went over. So yeah, this is pretty, like there's all these early games to me. We'll get to the other 2, Islanders, Jersey, Boston, Pittsburgh. Who's playing defense? That's just the question I ask. Who's playing defense in these games? I don't know if we're going to get much of it in these first 3 games on the card. What do you think here in this one, Goose? Flyers, Senators.
I was on the over by Fecta even before we started this. This is an Ottawa game. They need this game. They have to ramp up. They have to get moving. So I've got them this on the over by Fecta. I've also got them on the puck line -1.5 at +105. I think they come out, and I think they put Philly into the ground today. I'm also looking for Claude Giroux. Claude is 1 point away from 50 for the season. So I've got him for 1 point at -145, 2 plus points at +500. I've also got him as an anytime goal scorer at +320. And I'm also looking for Dylan Cousins at +240.
Yeah, we're looking at, players that are looking for, 40 goals or 30 goals or 20 goals. 20 goals is important because there's a financial incentive that kicks in when you score 20 goals. Yep. And so there's a lot of, we're looking for a lot of players that are in that mix that are closing in on the 20 goal mark. And Zetterlund's one of them for Ottawa here in this game. At 18 goals. He needs 2 to get to 20. So you got to think there's incentivization right there for him, to be able to find the back of the net right now for the Ottawa Senators going into this game for sure with where he's at. No doubt about that. What else? There's a couple more. That's the big one though to me is obviously Zetterlund with where he is right now as far as a goal scored are concerned. But you're right about Claude Giroux against his old team. Could definitely make sense. Forster continues to be red hot. Matty JC, I don't argue with that. He's been really good, scoring in bunches. Paling's cooled off a little bit, but he's kind of been the bargain bin value target for me lately for the Philadelphia Flyers. All right, we got Islanders and Devils. This is also at 1 p.m. Eastern. Devils minus 200, minus 210 home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. I cashed with Devils puck line in the first period Friday night against Pittsburgh, and they had a great start, and then they weren't very good after that. Pittsburgh came back, and they beat New Jersey on Friday night. Now they're off another loss. And maybe in the first period, they're good again. And you got the Islanders off another tough loss. They had a lead. They lost to Philly. We'll see. I sprinkled again on Devils' first period puck line here in this game. I won with it Friday. I don't trust New Jersey for the full game, though. And we saw that Friday night against Pittsburgh. They had a great start. They stormed out of the gate. They grabbed a 2-0 lead against Pittsburgh in the first period of that game. And then they got worse as the game went on. They ended up losing that game. But I think the Islanders are absolutely vulnerable here in this game because they're officially out. It was another kick in the teeth loss for them against Philadelphia on a back-to-back. New Jersey with the rest advantage. Devils puck line was good. First period was good to me Friday. I'll come back to it here. Devils first period puck line. But I like the over by Fecta just as much, if not more. Like I said, again, Islanders are out. Devils, you can see now the Pittsburgh game, I'm referencing that. They gave up 4 goals. Their defense wasn't great in that game. They know what they're doing in the playoffs. They know their positioning. They know who they're playing. So 5.5 to me, I'm happy to jump on the over there as well. I don't think it's Tristan Lennox. It's not. It's Ilya Sorokin. Patrick Waugh decided not to go with the young kid, Tristan Lennox. We thought Lennox would be good to go, but or getting the start. Maybe they'd be shutting down Sorokin, but not the case. Ilya Sorokin is going to be the starting goaltender here for the Islanders this afternoon. Alex, what do you like here? Islanders, Devils.
Yeah, this probably would be 6.5 if we were seeing a Lennox sighting in that. But with 5.5, I would be willing to play this small for the over pregame and add a little bit more on. And this maybe could be a good live game as far as back and forth goes. Maybe Islanders get a goal quickly and we can go grab New Jersey at probably won't get a plus price, but you can get them at a reduced price worth laying on. So this is a good live betting game overall, but I would be leaning more towards some over pregame and then adding on to that during the contest.
All right, Goose, how about you? Islanders, Devils.
I don't trust either team to do anything right for me today in any way, shape, or form, but I do have one freebie. It's a bargain bin. It's going to happen. Pierre Engvall is going to score against Sheldon Keefe's team. That's all I have for this game, plus 500. Because the game means nothing. Nothing else matters. Engvall will score. Done.
There you go. That's a little shot at Pierre Engvall right there. Only scores in meaningless games. There you go for the New York Islanders. Good stuff indeed. So, like I said, I'm going to, again, take the Devils' first period puck line, and that's it. Just give me the lead after the first period. Plus, I think in the first 20 minutes, the Islanders really could be, skating in the clouds, if you will, because the Dream Crusher, yesterday was the day they officially got eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs. And like I said, New Jersey did have a strong start against Pittsburgh. But again, these are dicey times, So again, I stress, keep these bets small because I've done that. Everything's quarter unit for me across the board as of starting of yesterday. It was a profitable day yesterday with that approach. Just keep everything smaller, keep everything around the even same amount, and it ended up being really solid. All right, next up, we've got Boston and Pittsburgh. We've got Pittsburgh minus 160 home favorites, 6 the total. Here in this game, same thing, over by Fecta, wash, rinse, repeat. You see this Bruins team, they're they haven't been good defensively most of the season, but you look at them after the trade deadline and a depleted group, no question about that. Obviously, we saw the third period onslaught at the hands of Chicago, 5 goals in that game in a 5-2 loss to the Black. They gave up 6 to Buffalo. They did shut down New Jersey, only gave up 2. but they did score 7. But they're still scoring at times, this Bruins team. Obviously, Pasternak has been involved in most of the offense here for the Boston Bruins down the stretch. We'll see if that continues here in this game against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's off the 4-2 win against New Jersey. Penguins back-to-back wins. They blanked Chicago at home 5-0 before that. But I'm not laying a price with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's the preferred side, but I'm not laying minus 160. And I'm not trusting Boston at this point. I'm just trusting both teams to score and both teams not to play much defense. Over by Fecta. Alex, what do you think here? Bruins, Penguins.
This game's a pass for me because every time I seem to bet on an over with Boston and Pittsburgh, it ends up being 3-2, 2-1, low, slow kind of a game. So this is what I want.
This year it's been. Yep.
Yeah,
that's true.
So it's a pass for me.
All right, I don't blame you. All right, Goose, what do you think here?
I like the first period over because I don't trust either team to not make a save. And then this will be a theme with me today. Crosby 1 point away from 90. Rust 1 goal away from 30. So I've got Crosby to have a point, Rust for an anytime goal. I've also parlayed the two together with the Pittsburgh money line.
All right, good stuff indeed. No
Okay,
doubt.
that's creative. I like that. Especially that parlay, the player prop parlay I really like. But adding in Pittsburgh to that too is smart. Yeah.
I figure if Crosby and Rust have a good day against Boston, it should spell for right. Oh, and also Crosby 2+ points is plus 165. So I've got that in pocket as well.
No doubt. All right, next up we've got Toronto and Carolina. This is ridiculous scheduling. They've done this to Toronto before, where they play in Carolina or they play somewhere at 5:00 p.m. Eastern time on a Sunday after Saturday night, playing, of course, on Hockey Night in Canada. So this is a very difficult scheduling spot here for Toronto in Carolina. Carolina minus 220 home favorites, 6 the total here, shaded to the under in this game. Hurricanes played yesterday too, so it is back-to-back for them, but they got the afternoon game on ABC against the Rangers at 3 p.m. Eastern. No travel involved. Not even close to the situation Toronto's dealing with here. Obviously playing Saturday night and then playing a 5 p.m. Eastern game. That being said, you've got one team here that's minus 220 that's got 0 on the line. Nothing, no skin in the game here. Nothing on the line other than just playing out the string of the regular season. Carolina's locked into their spot, and they know they've got New Jersey in the first round. Let's also remember that before the 7-3 win against the Rangers yesterday, who are, of course, a sad sack bunch that they beat up yesterday, they lost 4 in a row on that road trip. So this is a spot here where I don't trust Carolina. I wish this scheduling spot wasn't so bad for Toronto, but in spite of the bad scheduling spot, I'm going to take a little piece of the Leafs in the first period, just in case their legs give out later, because, the first period I like. I'm going to put a smaller piece of them on the full game too, but just it's one of these deals where I've got probably a 75-25 split, Toronto first period to Toronto full game, just because I'm worried about those back-to-back legs, a less than 24-hour turnaround from last night against Montreal catching up to them a little bit. But you're going to give me plus 180, and even at the first period price is really strong on Toronto, a good plus price, for a team that's just got more on the line, because Toronto's still trying to officially clinch and lock up the Atlantic Division, and Carolina's got nothing on. I'm taking that price. It's just that simple, even with the tricky scheduling spot. But again, we're keeping it small, and we're going a little bit more with the first period money line here with Toronto, as opposed to the full game in this one. It should be Freddie Anderson in net. It's not confirmed, but we saw Kochetkov yesterday against the Rangers, so I'm almost for certain it's going to be Anderson. And why wouldn't it be, considering, coaches like to put the goalie in against his former team or one of his former teams. And so I expect Freddie Anderson here for the Carolina Hurricanes. Joe Woll in net for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, the good news is Toronto will have 6 defensemen tonight. They only played with 5D because of the stupidity from Dubas putting them in cap hell the last several years. And he couldn't call up anybody from the American League. And so as a result, they had to play with 5 defensemen last night against Montreal. But they do have 6 defensemen. Dakota Mermis. See, this is a guy that's played in the NHL, I think, a few games, but he's been, bounced around a bit. But he's definitely got experience. He'll play on the third pair with Philippe Myers. And then, of course, Benoit Tanev, Riley Carlo. Riley and Carlo, man, that pairing is really starting to find some chemistry for Toronto. They're working well together. Riley skates the puck up. Carlos hangs back, clears the front of the net, blocks shots, plays that defensive style of game, no doubt. And I think it was definitely a situation. Yeah, I know they had Marner experimenting on defense last night. That's how bad it was.
That's
Thanks,
wild.
Kyle Dubas. That's all Kyle Dubas putting this team in cap hell, with the way he mismanaged the salary cap when he was the GM. This is not on tree living. This is on the previous regime for this happening. So I hate the scheduling spot, but again, because I'm taking still the Leafs small first period full game money line split because of the fact that this is just a price for a team that's got something on the line and a minus 220 favorite that has nothing on the line. It's really that simple. Alex, what do you think here? Leafs, Canes.
I'm grabbing the draw plus 350 for similar reasons. You got Toronto, like I said, still in that race for the Atlantic. Points are a premium, but it's the second of back-to-back for both teams. You say legs could be heavy. This could be a game where, let's tie it 2-2 after 40 minutes. It's just 20 minutes of cardio, and then they settle in an overtime or a shootout. This is one of those games that just has that potential to just stumble its way into overtime. So at plus 350, that's certainly worth a stab for me. That's the only thing I have.
I'm gonna bet the draw too. It makes sense now the more I think about it too, because every point's valuable. Even if the Leafs only get out of Raleigh here this afternoon with 1 point, that's significant because of obviously Tampa Bay losing to Detroit Friday. It's really opened the door. Like Toronto, they're going to win the division. It's a question of when, not if. But 1 point, even just 1 point, would be massive as far as a step toward doing that. Goose, how about you? Leafs, Canes.
The draw in hand, that was the first thing I went for this morning, thinking the same thing. They need the point. 1 point is better than no points. It's Anderson. We'll see what happens. We might get goalied, but you never know. I do have the Leafs first 10 minutes puck line two-way to be up 1 goal plus 320.
Oh, wow.
I have faith in them to come out in the first period and try and get a handle on the game. If they can do that, then they should at least get the tie, maybe get the win. Along the way, though, we're also looking, again, Nyes needs 1 goal for 30. OEL needs a point for 30 as well. I can't find him anywhere for a point, not even in the power play points on Bet365, but I do have Nyes as an anytime goal scorer. And then I took the puck line that I just mentioned, Nyes to score a goal, and Tavares for 1 point, put it all into a parlay. You get 19-1.
All right, that's a pretty good price when you look at it there. Yeah, no doubt. That's and I could see it. Obviously, we know with Matthew Nyes, he's been absolutely terrific. The hat trick night against Tampa Bay was outstanding. There's no question about it. So, like I said, definitely could see him making an impact here on this game when it's all said and done. All right, let's move along now. Next up, we've got Buffalo and Tampa Bay. Of course, this is the Sabres continuing the 2-game Florida trip. They were in Florida yesterday. They lose to the Panthers. Now playing the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have very slim hopes alive still for the Atlantic Division at this point. But they are tied with Florida at 98 points, and home ice advantage in a likely battle of Florida is still very much on the line here for the Tampa Bay Lightning in this game. They're minus 280 home favorites total here at 6.5, shaded to the over here in this game. I'm sensing a little bit of a, kind of a malaise a bit from Tampa Bay. They're kind of showing that, hey, the division, it's we're not catching it. Home ice would be great, but they've kind of let Florida back into it with these last 2 losses that they've suffered against Toronto and Detroit. We'll see if it carries over here. Buffalo is one of these teams that has been, you can't figure out why this is, but Buffalo has always been a thorn in Tampa Bay's side. It's just crazy. It's just amazing to see how game in and game out, Sabres, Lightning, Buffalo is either right there or beating this Tampa Bay team. The last 8 meetings, Buffalo has a stunning 6-2 record. That's Buffalo 6-2 versus the Tampa Bay Lightning in the last 8 meetings. This year alone, they've played each other twice. This will be the last meeting. March 6th in Tampa. I remember that game. Tampa won 6-5, but by the skin of their teeth. Buffalo was leading multiple times during that game. And then, of course, Buffalo wins 3-2 in a shootout just 8 days ago over this Tampa Bay team. So this has always been a tough game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jonas Johansson's in net. That's the big news. And also big news is Oliver Bjorkstrand, an injury to him that's going to keep him out for a certain amount of time. So Like I said, for me, I'm going to do the same thing as I did yesterday. Sabres first period, score a goal. Sabres first period, money line. Sabres full game team total over as well. And a little bit on the again, the Sabres full game might be like yesterday where they don't win the game. Tampa Bay finds a way. But I'm not sold on that, especially with Johansson, obviously, being in net. We'll have to see who gets the start here, obviously, on the back-to-back, too, for Buffalo. We don't have the confirmation yet who it will be. It was not James Reimer yesterday. He did not play. So my guess is James Reimer does play here today in this game for the Buffalo Sabres. So we're going to run it back with Buffalo, what we did yesterday in their game against Florida. First period money line, goal in the first period for the Sabres, which is a very reasonable price. Here in this game in that minus 120 range or so. And then Sabres full game money line and that full game team total over for the Sabres, which is just 2.5 at even money. When you factor in that they've been good at scoring 3 goals lately for the most. I know they've only scored 2 the last couple, but especially against Tampa. Look at all these games where Buffalo scored at least 3. 3, 5, 4, 3. In the last 4 meetings alone, Buffalo scored 3 goals or more in every one of them. So this is just diversify the portfolio a little bit on everything here. Sabres, first period to get a goal, money line, and full game money line and team total over as well in this one. Alex, what do you think here? Sabres, Lightning.
Well, yeah, you pointed out about how just Tampa has had a tough time with this Buffalo team, and you said 6-2 in the last 8, but it goes further back than that, really. Like we've talked about it on the show, even the days where it was Eichel and this team was struggling and tanking from the bottom, and Tampa Bay was still the king of the East. It was Buffalo winning those games, and so you just have that where there's some teams, no matter how good or bad you are, they just give you fits, and clearly Buffalo gives Tampa Bay the fits. So I'm right there with you on that, and I'm going to go a little heavier on some of these things because of the fact that I have position on Tampa Bay to win the division, which more than likely is going to lose today. So I'm going to try and not chase, but just slightly recruit some things in the same form. So going with that team total over 2.5 minus 112. Goal in the first period, laying 130. I'll play that a little bit smaller, but taking a shot with Buffalo on the money line, and I'm going to even take a small sprinkle on the regulation plus 330 as well. If all 4 of those can hit, then I'm scot free from what I had on Tampa Bay way back in September, and can kind of move forward from that. So that's the way I'm playing it.
There we go. That's a great price on the Sabres in regulation. If you trust them to get it done in 60 minutes, wow, plus 330. That is a heck of a price on that. Goose, what do you like in here? Buffalo, Tampa Bay.
I'm going to borrow 2 taglines from Alex. Not so fast, my friend. Tampa Bay needs this game. They cannot afford to give up any points right now. They needed
the Detroit game too, though. Yeah.
But they need this game. They need to stay above Florida. The first round is going to be Toronto, Ottawa. Thank the Lord. The Battle of Ontario is going to be bloody. The next bloodiest season or series is going to be that Florida series. So Tampa Bay needs to win today. Having said that, I am not betting them in any way, shape, or form in that fashion. All I have them on is the first period puck line. I need them up 1 goal. That's it in the first, and I'm done with them. I do have 2 other props, though, in that game. Surprise. Actually, 3. Surprise. Braden Point needs 1 point to get to 80, so I've got him for an anytime point. Gensel, 2 goals to make 40, so I got him as an anytime goal scorer. Dahlin needs 1 assist to make 50 this season, so I've got those 3 players, and then that first period puck line on Tampa Bay. And one more tagline: just because they need to win doesn't mean they will win. But these are the games where champions show up. These are the games when these guys should be able to take care of this game. So that's what I'm riding on.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. This should be a monstrous Tampa Bay victory. Like that is the way. But we've said that a lot of times with Tampa against Buffalo. That's just the thing.
It's series history that I'm diving into, and you're right. I think I need to see a better 60-minute effort than I saw against Detroit. Like that was supposed to be a game they needed too. I didn't see it being good enough for them for 60 minutes, and that was after Cooper ripped into them for an embarrassing start that he quote unquote said against Toronto the game before that.
Yeah,
and they still lost.
I honestly feel this is the game they show up, especially at home.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Right.
I'll dare them. I'll dare them to show up the way. And I don't need them to, necessarily lose the game. They could because I've got Buffalo in various ways here. get a goal in the first, get to 3 goals, which they should be able to do, quite honestly, because they've done it.
And I do like that Buffalo goal in the first. If I can find that on Bet365, I'm going to tail you on that one as well. So,
I mean, even in the Friday night game, Detroit got a first period goal there, and that was with Vasi in net that night, obviously. And we know they had that brutal start too against the Leafs, where they gave up 2 goals in the first 5 minutes. So this first periods have not been good here, these last 2 games at home for Tampa either.
It isn't a giant price, but plus 135 to plus 138 for both teams to score in the first.
Yep, I could see
There's
that.
a good one. Yeah,
I definitely think the Lightning could score too. I got to admit, in the opening period. So
not like the Lightning are just going to fall off the earth in Buffalo. Like it's going to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we still think there's going to be some Tampa Bay life, but maybe not so much late potentially. I don't listen.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I see it as well with that game, no doubt. All right, next up, we continue along here on this Sunday NHL card. Shout out to the chat, by the way. Appreciate all you guys joining us. I'm always impressed how many people are in the chat and how many people are just tuned into the show on a Sunday, which is sometimes a family day. It's tougher to find that time, and you guys still do, so we appreciate that. All right, Columbus, Washington, part 2. This time in the nation's capital. We've got Washington minus 160. Home favorites. The total here sitting at 6.5, shaded to the over. Obviously, look, that was a Washington team that rested Ovechkin yesterday. That was and it was Columbus's final home game, and it was kind of, you could tell Washington was not really mentally locked in for that particular game. But now they're back home. Again, we'll have to wait and see who's in the lineup, because I have not heard a damn thing yet from Spencer Carberry or anyone with Washington that who's going to be in. What we do know is that Ovechkin's likely to play this game for the Capitals, and the line indicates that. Like we would expect Alex Ovechkin to be in the lineup. But I'm telling you what, I don't want to lay minus 160 with Washington at all right now. Like I said, I'm not betting Washington again the rest of the season. But the question is, do I want to fade Washington today after they got just walloped yesterday? The game got nasty. Does that dial up the emotion and the intensity and the focus today in a back-to-back spot against the same team for the Washington Capitals here against Columbus? That's the big question. I feel the best way to bet Columbus, though, this is definitely one where I don't want Columbus money line, but minus 235 or minus 135 with over 2.5, I'll take that, because Washington has just been repeatedly giving up 3 goals, just over and over again. They've been doing that. 7 to Columbus, 4 to Carolina, 4 to the Islanders, 3 to Chicago, 5 to Carolina, 3 to Boston. Go on down the list. I mean, they've given up 3 goals or more in 10 straight games. The Washington Capitals. And Columbus is not mathematically eliminated just yet. They are still alive. Yeah, 10 straight, they've given up 3 goals or more. So I'm not touching Columbus money line today, which I took the money line yesterday. I'm not doing that today because I think there's going to be some kind of fire in the belly of the Capitals to show something. I mean, you did get dummied by this team 7-0 yesterday. I do think Washington's going to have a little more investment in this game, but they're struggling defensively right now. Their defensive intensity is not there at the moment, and I could see Columbus scoring 3 again. And again, this Caps team is now on a 10-game streak of giving up at least 3 goals to their opponents. So I am going to take the Blue Jackets team total over 2.5 here in this game, and I'm running back the over by Fecta again in this game, just like the yesterday. I think there'll be probably a lot of goals early and often. We're looking at a goaltending matchup here that potentially could be Lindgren. Well, it probably will be Lindgren after it was Hunter Shepard yesterday. I don't think we're going to see Logan Thompson for the rest of the season. We saw Jet Greaves yesterday for Columbus. Has he become like the guy that they're going to rely on until they're eliminated? Are they actually going to give him a back-to-back start? They might. I don't know if they're going to put Tarasov in, and I don't think Merzlikins is available today just yet. I think he's still out. So does Dean Evison put Jet Greaves back in? If it is him, when's the last time he's played a back-to-back, especially at the NHL level? So I'm not convinced he's been really good. Beat Buffalo, he played well. Obviously gets a shutout yesterday, although the Caps didn't have a lot going for them in that game. But nevertheless, he has played well. But a back-to-back start, if he gets it, I'm not so sure. And he's not used to that. I'm not so sure he's going to be as sharp today, Jet Greaves, if he gets another start for Columbus. So over by Fecta here for me as well. Alex, what do you think? Jackets, Caps?
I wouldn't rush to just kind of throw away Jet Greaves in a back-to-back spot. It's funny. I was looking at his numbers earlier today, and just kind of seeing his progression from what he's done when he was down in the AHL at Cleveland. He's played a lot of minutes. I can see where he's probably played a lot of back-to-back and maybe even back-to-back games, being down there in the A. His numbers have gotten increasingly better and better. And I watched him yesterday. He's got decent form. Now, I don't know if Columbus is shopping him and going to try and move him in the future, or is he going to be the guy behind Merzlikins and Tarasov is going to be the one out? So, like I said, it's important for those two guys. They're battling for something right now. So even though Columbus is pretty much all but eliminated in the playoffs, the goaltending situation for Columbus all the way till the end is going to be something kind of interesting to note. So, Greaves has shown, that he kind of deserves to be, at least in this NHL level, what role we have to see. But with that being said, I do like over by fact that this might be a good time for the old Matty Rob special, that parlaying over 1.5 with the over 5.5 as well. I think knocking that down, that's a good thing to look at. So I will probably more than likely just do that pregame and then look for those totals again individually in game.
All right, there we go. Nothing wrong with that. What do you like here, Goose? Columbus and Washington.
I do like the over by factor, but I like the first period over more than I do the full game right now. I'm looking at left wing lock right now. Projected is Tarasov and Lindgren for the Capitals. So again, depending on who you get, this might be an under game. So what I do like though is I like that first period, but I like it live. I want to sit on that for about 2 minutes into the game, try and get it to a nice little plus money item, and I'll grab it there. That's about all I've got. Again, we got a couple milestones. We got Monahan needs 1 goal for 20. So I've got him as an anytime goal scorer. He comes in at plus 340, I think. I got him at. Sandin needs a point for 30. And Mangiapane needs 2 points to get to 30. That'll be 6 seasons of 30-plus points or more. So I've got Mangiapane as an anytime goal scorer and a point and 2 points plus. And Sandin for a point, and Monahan for the anytime goal.
All right, there we go. That's not bad. I don't mind those. And again, these are things to look at this time of year. Definitely the milestone situations.
And that Monahan one, I think that one hits today. I really do. I think that's a major one for them. I think they're going to get that, and that'll be a kind of a Goudreau finishing exclamation point on the season for them.
On the season, yeah, no doubt. I could definitely see that. So yeah, good looks there with the like I said, that this time of year when you've got players that are looking for 50 points or 40 goals or 20 goals, because 20 goals, like I said, you get incentivized contract-wise. So no doubt. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the props we mentioned, yes, none of them hit for Washington, but if the lines remain the same, of course, they got shut out yesterday. Ethan Frank was up there on the top line, although top 6. I think they might be putting McMichael with Dubois and Wilson. But again, if Ovechkin plays, this changes for Washington. So just keep an eye on what the lineup will look like later on, closer to puck drop. All right, we got 3 games left. These are all night games now. Edmonton and Winnipeg. We've got pretty much even money here, both sides, minus 110, total 6. Now, I was surprised that Connor Hellebuck got yesterday's game against Chicago. I was surprised by that. I thought, you know what? They'll rest Hellebuck for Chicago, or for Edmonton, rather, Saturday night, and they'll put Eric Comrie in yesterday against Chicago. But they went with Hellebuck. I think the way they said it is, well, we can pretty much clinch the division. Let's put our top guy in there against a beatable team like Chicago, and they did that, and they got the win. Now, it was not easy. Like I said, Chicago played hard, but Winnipeg did find a way. Now, the President's Trophy is still up for grabs, and the Jets could clinch that, I believe, with a win here tonight against the Edmonton Oilers. This game, I've got a lot of bets in the previous games we talked about. I really don't have much here. The only thing I would maybe look at is the draw here with Edmonton and Winnipeg. But again, the Oilers are in a spot now where with LA, they just keep on winning, and Edmonton just can't gain ground. They're still 4 points behind LA, and they lose the regulation wins tiebreaker, and they only have 3 games left. They probably know, hey, we're not getting home ice against the LA Kings in that first round series. I look at this as, I don't know if Edmonton's plus Edmonton, and we haven't talked about this yet because obviously we found out from Ryan Rishaug, the great Oilers reporter on TSN yesterday about this, and Edmonton didn't play yesterday. But Matthias Ekholm's injury, which could have him out for a significant portion of the playoffs, and it hasn't even been ruled out that his season might be over for the Edmonton Oilers. This is absolutely incredible the Oilers had this happen. Like, there is no need for him to be out there. He's an older player. He's already had injuries this year. So whether it was the medical team giving him the green light or the coaching staff putting him in needless games, which are not, balls to the wall for the Edmonton Oilers, they're not catching the LA Kings. It's a disaster. And everyone shares responsibility on this and culpability for this. This is the medical staff for giving him the thumbs up to play, and it's the coaching staff for putting him in when he didn't need to be in that game the other night. It's just absolutely incredible. Just that they've allowed this to happen. So like I said, be careful, with your players at this time of year. Could be something that I think Edmonton might be even more interested in than other teams because they've had to go through just a ton of injuries here down the stretch. Hell, Connor McDavid was out for a period of time, although I know some of that was rest, but he was also banged up too. Dreisaitl's still out. Nugent Hopkins, Frederick, Hyman's now out as well because he got banged up in that San Jose game as well on Friday night. So he's probably not going to play today either. I mean, I know that Winnipeg's on a back-to-back, clinched the division, not a whole lot on the line, but do you trust Edmonton? I don't. I'm not rushing to bet Winnipeg either, so it's a pass. The only thing I'd lean to is the draw. Alex, what do you think here, Edmonton, Winnipeg?
Yeah, 20 years ago, this would probably be a spot where we'd say, oh, Winnipeg clinched the division. They were in Chicago, had an early game, probably getting hammered and painting the town red before going back home and getting in this one. Things are a little different in modern day. Maybe they stayed up playing their video games a little bit extra. But this is one where I don't want to look at a side here. This is, two teams that, like I said, they've already kind of got where they know where they need to be going. And they know they need to get ready for what's coming up ahead down the road this week. So it's a pass for me.
All right, Goose, Oilers, Jets.
All right. Well, I hammered on this a little bit. I've got Connor McDavid, anytime goal scorer. Scheifele, anytime goal scorer. Cole Perfetti, anytime goal scorer. Darnell Nurse, 1+ points at plus 155. He will move up to the first line because of Ekholm. It hasn't been shown on left wing lock yet, but I'm taking that on spec. And then I've got I'm looking for McDavid to try and take this game and get it. So I've got Edmonton first 10 minutes total two-way over 1.5 at plus 320.
Wow. So them to get 2 goals in the first 10 minutes?
Yep. I'm looking for everybody screams McJesus. He walks on water. He flies through the air. Show me. For once, show me, you rotten bucket. Every time I bet him when he should show up, he doesn't. So this is the game. But again, for all the props I gave, those guys, Ehlers, Scheifele, Perfetti, McDavid, they're all looking for something. McDavid's 3 away from 100. Ehlers is 1 assist away from 40. Scheifele is 2 for 40. Perfetti needs a point for 50 and anytime goal for 20.
Yeah.
So definitely that Perfetti goal prop. It still comes in at plus. I got it at plus 345. I think on bet 365. So.
Wow. It's a pretty good price, I must admit. Yep, no doubt. You know what? 5.5, I'm kind of tempted by an over here just because when you look at it, Comrie's going to be in net, most likely for Winnipeg, which is obviously no Hellebuck, as we know. Skinner! Yes. Stuart Skinner is confirmed for Edmonton. He's back. And I know he's still going to be the game 1 playoff starter, even though Pickard's, been solid at times here down the stretch. But he hasn't played in a long time. Stu Skinner. So is he going to be on his game? Long time off, hasn't started since March 26. Is he going to be sharp right away? And I don't know if are either of these teams going to be blocking shots left and right. Edmonton's already got a bunch of guys hurt. Winnipeg's locked up the division. They're maybe going to, and they've been a great defensive team, but we kind of saw it last night with Winnipeg. Not their finest defensive effort in that escape win against Chicago last night for the Winnipeg Jets. So that over 5.5, maybe we'll get involved in that for just a little bit. All right, next up, San Jose and Calgary. Calgary minus 300, home favorites. 6 the total here in this game. Calgary's going to probably take the ice thinking as long as there's a chance, there's a chance. But last night did them no favors, none at all. Minnesota gets 2 points. Coming from behind down 2-0 against Vancouver to get the 2 points. St. Louis gets a point in that game, and they find themselves further behind, both teams, and obviously the game's remaining dwindling. Obviously, there's still just the smallest glimmer of hope, but that glimmer is fading right now for the Calgary Flames. The flame is about to get extinguished as far as their playoff hopes. There is still a chance, but boy, they're at a spot now where, as far as Minnesota's concerned, Calgary's got to go 3-0, and Minnesota can't get even 1 point in their remaining games if they're going to overtake Minnesota. Now, it's a little bit better chance they catch St. Louis, but not much when you look at it. So they're really up against it here, Calgary. Obviously, this game, you got to have it, got to win it, should win it, but I'm not laying mine. There's just no value on Calgary in this spot. There just really is not. Minus 300. At least we had some value when they played Minnesota, and even when they played Anaheim on the road, even though they lost that game, there were reasonable prices to back Calgary. Not tonight, though, unfortunately. And I'll say this about San Jose. You look at this road trip that they are on. This is their final road trip. They play in Vancouver tomorrow night. This is the front end of a back-to-back for them. They're in Vancouver tomorrow night. But they had the opportunity to step up and play spoiler against Minnesota. And they took the Wild to overtime. And it was an 8-7, just crazy game, goals everywhere. It exploded on the scoreboard. And then against Edmonton Friday night, they scored in the first period, which we cashed. It was my best bet. I'm not taking that tonight, but like I said, they were up. They were down 2-1 after the first. They tied the game, and it was a 2-2 game going to the third. Like, they were right there with Edmonton. They were San Jose. So the effort's been good on this road trip. Every point's valuable for Calgary, as we know, moving forward. I see that draw staring me in the face at over plus 400. I'm taking it. Give me the draw here. San Jose and Calgary. Draw plus 400. It's a phenomenal price. Plus 402 is what I'm seeing at Pinnacle with that draw. Shop around, see what you can get at other books like FanDuel, DraftKings, and others. But from what I'm seeing, you can get as high as plus 400 on the draw in this game. I think it's got a shot. San Jose's been feisty. They've been plucky. They've stepped up here on this road trip, battled Edmonton tough. Minnesota had everything to play for, and they got the Wild into overtime earlier this week before losing this game. So I definitely think this could be a spot where that draw's got a shot. And again, you can get plus 400 or better at Pinnacle, among other places. So I think it's worth a shot here. Sharks, Flames, draw. It's the only pregame bet I have here. San Jose, Calgary, draw, plus 400 in that range. Alex, what do you think here? Sharks, Flames.
Yeah, at that price, that's worth a shot. I'm seeing 400 also available at MGM, 380 at FanDuel. I can see where a draw, like I said, San Jose's been playing these playoff teams tough. They seem to be kind of relishing that spoiler role a bit. And with Calgary, I could see where, if they have their legs early, this game, still kind of tight late. It wouldn't shock me to see this one go past 60. So I will take a shot at that plus 400. Just kind of looking through, I was trying to find some kind of shining light for Flames fans to hold on to. But even if they win out, Minnesota's got to lose to Anaheim, a team that they've beaten 9 of the last 10 times and have beaten them badly. So, like I said, unless St. Louis falters, which that's probably the only opening way. But you still got to win all 3 of these games if you're the Flames. So it's unfortunate to see it come to an end like this. Great team in the hell of a season, but it's just rough. It should take care of business here. I can see them getting the win in overtime. Certainly, if they go to overtime or shootout, I can definitely see them getting that second point and keeping it alive, which prolonging the inevitable, if you will. But definitely liking that draw plus 400.
No doubt. By the way, I think this is maybe a more competitive game because the more I watch, hey there, Georgie girl, Georgie Romanov for the San Jose Sharks, he's starting to play a little bit better, I must admit. I thought he was solid the last couple times we've seen him there. Remember the Calgary game just recently? He faced the Calgary Flames April the 7th, and that game was in San Jose. He played pretty solid against the Flames in that game, Romanov, for the San Jose Sharks. Put it this way, Georgiev was the guy that was in net for that 8-7 fire wagon game against Minnesota, and I don't think it's a coincidence that we haven't seen him in net since then. Romanov got the start against Edmonton on Friday, and again, they were in that game. And, of course, Romanov getting the start here tonight for San Jose. Obviously, it's back-to-back, and it's telling that, you have a chance to play spoiler here against Calgary, which is probably the game that excites this young Sharks team more than tomorrow night when they play Vancouver, who are already out of it, and yet they're playing Romanov tonight in the game where they could play spoiler. and saving Georgiev for the Vancouver game when it's just playing for exercise. So that kind of tells me that right now they're kind of thinking what I'm thinking. They kind of like the way Romanov's played compared to Georgiev of late in net for the San Jose Sharks. Goose, what do you think here? San Jose, Calgary.
Yeah, the Flames have to win out. They're going to get stuck in the monkey middle, 1 point or 2 points out of playoffs, and they should have sold off. And I said that from the start, but whatever. That it is what it is. I am on the Flames today. You know I am. Let's go. So this is the way it works. This is the way it rocks today.
This game, I will say this though: if they play the way they did against Minnesota Friday night, Calgary, this game will not sniff the draw. It won't.
No. I am on the draw.
Yeah.
That being said, I do have Mackenzie Weegar 2+ blocked shots.
Yeah.
I do have Nazem Kadri anytime goal scorer. I have Tyler Toffoli anytime goal scorer. That I'm betting heavy. He loves scoring against Calgary. He loves scoring against his former teams.
He does. That's true.
I do have Calgary Flames team total over 3.5. If they win, that's how they get there. They have to score goals. Then I put all of that together in a parlay, and I added in Sharon Gobe. Regulation time result would be Calgary Flames. Add all of that together, it comes in at 23-1. This is the final home game for Calgary. I'm looking for them to blow it out. It's sold out. I can get a press level seat. That's it. So that's the way I'm looking at it. And I will mention this is the first time. Take a look at my Twitter feed, my Calgary Goose. You'll find a 9-game parlay on there. Part of that is Sharon Govich to get 1 point. All of that, when you look at it, comes in at like 4,500 to 1. So cup of coffee and let's.
There you go. All right. Nothing wrong with that. Goose and his parlays, and I know he's thrown out a few on Twitter, posted them earlier. So we'll see definitely how that plays out. All right, our final game of this Sunday NHL slate, Colorado Avalanche taking on the Anaheim Ducks. Half the team's watching Gabe Landeskog and his little comeback tour with the Colorado Eagles in the AHL. Half of them are there watching that. Half of them not with the Avs, finishing up this meaningless California 2-game road trip to end the season. Colorado minus 135 road favorites, 5.5, 6 the total in this game. Shop around for that because the total's a split line, 5.5 at some spots, 6 at others. We're expecting Scott Wedgwood in net. It was Blackwood yesterday. I will say this, for a depleted roster and a shorthanded team, they put up a pretty good effort against the LA Kings, who were obviously playing hard to try to get closer to getting home ice advantage against Edmonton in the first round. 5-4 Avalanche loss there against the Kings yesterday, back-to-back for them. Obviously, it's a laundry list of people missing. Colton, Drouin, Lindgren, McKinnon, Makar, Taves, Miles Wood, Josh Manson. I mean, it's all the guys that were out, obviously, last week, or the guys that were out yesterday. All didn't make the trip, so they're obviously not playing tonight either against the Anaheim Ducks. It's a meaningless game for Colorado. They want the playoffs to get here. I think the focus, Jared Bednar is not getting this team ready for Anaheim tonight. He's getting this team ready for Dallas. You know, he's already working ahead, I think, on the first round. This is also for Anaheim, their home finale. And we talk about this, the spots where the home team is going to get up, even if they're a non-playoff team. We saw Chicago with a hell of an effort in their home finale last night. I think you see that from Anaheim here tonight in this game, their final home game at the Honda Center, because they close on the road after this at Minnesota and Winnipeg to end the season. This is their final home game. So I'm going to go with Anaheim first period money line, Anaheim full game money line. I'm going to split it up between the two because they could jump on Colorado early, kind of like Chicago did last night against Winnipeg. You still worry in the back of your mind, are you good enough to win for the full game? That's why I'm going to split it up here. First period full game money line here on the Anaheim Ducks. Quack, 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 quack. At plus 115 in this game. Probably sprinkle on that team total. I will as well, 2.5 on Anaheim in this game. Alex, what do you think? Avs, Ducks.
Yeah, late night ESPN game. This will be one I'm looking for the over by factor in game. First period over, and maybe even both teams to score. But everything I like here, I think we can be able to grab live. Like I said, Avs have been playing well despite the absences, but with Ducks at home for the finale, they've been showing some life of late. Maybe this is one where they can get the win. So I think this will be a good one to watch and a good one to bet in game.
All right. Yeah, this is ESPN tonight. And guess Cassie again doing a Ducks or Sharks game. It's just wash, rinse, repeat. They give Cassie a Ducks or a Sharks game. Seems almost every time that it's an ESPN game. Incredible. What do you think here in this one, Goose? Colorado, Anaheim. I don't know if we're hearing Goose here.
No, yeah, Goose, I think you're muted.
Are you muted? Check your mic. Oh, still can't hear him. Uh-oh. Because you're right. I don't see your microphone icon muted on the screen here, but we can't hear you. You know what? Exit the studio, Goose. Come back in. Give that
Hop
a
out,
try.
come back in,
That
yeah.
does it. Hop out and come back in. That often does the trick. We'll see if we can get Goose going. Working with Goose and technology is always interesting. Not always.
And then StreamYard has been weird all week too.
But
So
it could be StreamYard, not him exactly. We'll see.
Yeah.
But we'll try to get Goose back up here for his thoughts on Avalanche and Ducks. We'll see now if his sound's corrected. How about now, Goose? Try it out. No, we still can't hear you. Gosh darn it. Oh, my goodness. Try restarting your computer. I don't know. Well, the Goose might try one more time, or that might be the last of Goose. We'll have to wait and see on the show. But, Goose, if you're hearing this right now, if you can't get the audio working again, if you try one more time, can't get the audio, just go in the chat and drop your bargain bin and your best bet if you've got it.
Yeah.
Go into the chat.
I think he alluded to the bargain bin earlier too. So
how about now?
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
All right. All right. So here we go. Let's rock and roll it real quick. Lacombe, McTavish, and Zegras, all for Anaheim, all need one assist to either hit 30 or 20. Colorado, Rantanen, and Lehkonen both need an assist to hit 40 and 20 respectively. Lehkonen needs a goal to hit 30, and Colton needs a point to hit 30. So I'm on all of those props, plus I'm on Anaheim money line, plus I'm on the first period draw between the two teams.
All right, there we go. First period draw as well for Goose with the Avs and the Ducks. All right, that's your late ESPN game tonight, by the way. That's national TV. And, of course, TNT's got a couple after. I don't think they were hoping for a more meaningful shit from the Islanders, Devils, and Bruins, Penguins this afternoon, TNT, but unfortunately not the case. But great stuff, Goose. We appreciate you. Goose volunteered to be on the show today, so we decided we'd give him the spot. So appreciate you joining us. Hang around because we're going to get bargain bin special and best bet from you in just a moment. Shout out to the chat, hit the like button. Final betcast of the regular season comes your way on Tuesday. And this is also our one free-for-all public betcast this month, Tuesday, April 15th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you join us for that. DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the betcast, and we'll send you the link before it begins this Tuesday, our final regular season live betcast. But we have a bunch coming up in the playoffs, tons of betcasts for the Stanley Cup playoffs. But this year it's going to be different. We're only going to have one Stanley Cup playoff live betcast that's free for all in May, and only one that's free for all in June. Everything else is going to be a Patreon exclusive live betcast during the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we're going to have a bunch of them. So make sure you get on board. $10 per month, patreon.com/Ice Guys. Goalie charts, totals charts, our daily betting card. Sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Plus, of course, all the access to those Patreon exclusive live betcasts coming your way during the Stanley Cup playoffs. So make sure you check it out. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. Get on board at just $10 per month. Look at this. Alex has to go to his other. Maybe it is a
unfucking believable. Yeah,
it might be. Yeah. I'll be the next one.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but at least I got the phone working. So,
no doubt. All right, Alex is back with us. All right, good stuff. No doubt. And, of course, you saw the merch, and I should have worn the draw season after all the overtime games yesterday. But, yes, I got that. We got the Skinner shirt. We've got, the Can't Find Him with a Telescope. We got I've been rocking that merch. Make sure you check it out. Great gear, great merch, iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
yeah, and there's 20% off, too, for the next 5 days at the site, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. So definitely check that out. Like I said, we have deals all April long, but right now for the next 5 days, 20% off of all items taken out at checkout.
All right, good stuff. We got Bargain Bin Special of the night. Best bets coming up in just a moment, right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
Hey, Ian, I got to tell you about this app I've been using lately called Kalshi. Kalshi.com. Did you know it's the only place where you can trade on March Madness in all 50 U.S. states?
I have heard about this, actually. Kalshi is the first and only legal prediction market that lets you trade on real-world events with the look and feel of stock trading, whether it's who will win elections, who will win the Grammy or Oscar awards, or what the price of Bitcoin will hit this year. You can bet you trade on just about anything on Kalshi.
With over 1 million users across all 50 states and over $1 billion worth of trades, Kalshi is an absolute game changer. And with March Madness coming to a close, baseball about to get in the full swing, playoffs on the horizon in hockey and basketball, now's the time to sign up to trade with Kalshi today.
Sign up at kalshi.com/iceguys, and the first 500 traders to join and trade 100 contracts, you will get a free $10 credit added to your account. So don't miss out on all the action. Join Kalshi today at kalshi.com/iceguys. That's kalshi.com/iceguys. All right, make sure you check out all our great sponsors, including, of course, Boston Hemp Inc. 20% off using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com and kalshi.com/iceguys. Check out that great trading platform. All right, we got bargain bin special of the night for this Sunday. Lots to choose from, a lot of games. We got one of the three at least hit yesterday for me with the bargain bin special. We gave you 3. Quentin Byfield came through for us. See if we can add to that here on this Sunday. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special.
Yeah, let's go to that Buffalo-Tampa Bay game, and we like Sabres to get some goals here. I think Jason Zucker could be one of those guys to score here. You can get a plus 340 anytime goal scorer over at FanDuel. So that's going to be my Sunday bargain bin special. Jason Zucker of the Buffalo Sabres, anytime goal scorer.
Yeah, and he's been good of late. So Jason Zucker for Buffalo. Alex B. Smith's Sunday bargain bin special. Goose, bargain bin special.
I got to go to Tampa Bay. I got to go to Yanni Gourde coming up to the first line, plus 325 for an anytime goal scorer. That sounds perfect to me.
There you go. That's a great price. Certainly moving up the lineup as well. I'm not surprised. I think Coop is looking for a little bit more just forecheck and a little bit more
a little more energy.
Yeah, a little bit more energy. No question from that. Top 6, and not liking what I think he's seen from the last couple games against the Leafs and the Red Wings. So good one there. I like it. Yanni Gourde for the Tampa Bay Lightning for Goose with his Sunday bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special for this card, I'm actually going to go as well to the Buffalo-Tampa Bay game. It's like we all like the Buffalo-Tampa Bay game. I'm going with Rasmus Dahlin on the blue line. for the Buffalo Sabres, who's got goals in back-to-back games for the Sabres entering this one. And he scored one of their goals yesterday against the Florida Panthers. And from a head-to-head stand, and he scored 3 goals in 3 of the last 5 games, 5 of the last 10. So in half of the last 10 games, Dahlin has gotten on the scoreboard with a goal, and he's plus 550 in that range to find the back of the net here in this game against Tampa Bay. So I like the value. He's been shooting the puck a lot. Goals in 5 of the last 10 games. Rasmus, and goals in back-to-back games as well. Rasmus Dahlin, Buffalo Sabres, plus 550 for my Sunday bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets for this Sunday to wrap up the show. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like here for best bet?
All right, well, we'll keep the theme going with that Buffalo-Tampa Bay game. I like Sabres. Team total over 2.5. You can get minus 112 at FanDuel. Anything minus 120 or better, so shop around for best price. But I think we should get 3 goals here against Jonas Johansson. So Buffalo Sabres, team total over is my Sunday best bet.
All right, Buffalo team total over 2.5, and a very good price on that for Alex with his best bet. Goose, best bet. What do you got?
All right, I got 2 because I can't decide on another one. So first one is Brian Rust, anytime goal for Pittsburgh. You're gonna get him plus 160 at Bet365. Again, he needs 1 for, I think it was 40. I told you. So I'm looking for Brian Rust there, and then I got to go to that Columbus game, and I got to go with Sean Monahan, anytime goal scorer. I got him at 325 on Bet365. I'm looking at MGM Bet Ontario. He is plus 370 to get a goal tonight. I'm telling you, that to me, that's the best bet. It has to be. So that's where I stand.
Good stuff, Goose. My best bet. Let's go to that late night West Coast affair. Hopefully a watch and win opportunity. I'm borrowing Teddy Covers' line, my mentor, into the business. Watch and win opportunity on ESPN, he would always say, for an NFL or an NBA or MLB. Watch and win opportunity on ESPN with the live home underdog that is the Anaheim Ducks. I'm going to go full game money line. I'm going to trust that they can win the game again. I've also got first period money line in my pocket, but I will go full game with the official best bet. I note that I have split this up, though, between first period and full game, but I will go with full game money line here. Anaheim Ducks plus 120 against the Colorado Avalanche for my best bet here for this Sunday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Quack, 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 quack. The sound going, no doubt. Shout out to the chat. We appreciate it very much. Again, free for all betcast Tuesday night, our last one for the regular season. Make sure you're there, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Should be an interesting night. It's going to be interesting to see how much is left to be decided by the time we get to Tuesday. But we will certainly make it entertaining, and we'll still certainly be looking at live betting opportunities and certainly systems and totals, trends, and all that. Even if there's not a whole lot of must win on the line for some of these teams. Instead
of throwing out a puck, we can throw out a shot instead. There you go.
There you go. Exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. So looking forward to that on Tuesday night. We only have 4 regular season shows left: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'll have our playoff preview show at 2 p.m. Eastern on Friday. We'll get you ready for the playoffs. We'll cover everything: series prices, some of the player props for goals, leading goal scorer in the series, who's going to get the most points in the series. I'm going to look at some of those markets as well for the Friday playoff preview show. So we'll cover everything as far as overall series preview of all first-round matchups Friday. And then, of course, Saturday, playoffs begin. So game breakdowns as usual. Roll along. And we'll get our betcast schedule for the Stanley Cup playoffs scheduled. As soon as we get the first-round schedule and we see it, that's when we're going to start locking in the betcast dates for the beginning of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So with that in mind, that's a wrap. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith and Goose, thanks to him for joining us. I'm Ian Cameron. Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We're back tomorrow on Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.
Go Flames.